I'm disabled. The words cut through the boardroom like a blade. Every executive froze. Maya Chen, CEO of the city's largest pediatric therapy network, sat in her wheelchair at the head of the conference table, her knuckles white against the armrests. The single dad across from her, Marcus Williams, the man she'd been seeing for 3 months, went absolutely still. "And I'm tired," Maya continued, her voice shaking, "of pretending that doesn't matter. Tired of apologizing. Tired of being too much." Marcus stood up. The room held its breath. Before we continue, subscribe and watch until the end. Comment your city below so I can see how far Maya's story travels. 3 months earlier, Maya had been 37 minutes late. 37 minutes of fighting Los Angeles traffic, inaccessible parking, and her own screaming anxiety. By the time she finally rolled through Giovanni's front entrance, her hands were shaking so badly she could barely grip her wheels. The hostess's face did that thing. That flicker of surprise, pity, discomfort that Maya had learned to read like a second language. "Table for one." The girl looked past Maya, searching for the person who must be with her, because disabled women didn't eat alone at nice restaurants on Friday nights. "I have a reservation," Maya said, forcing her voice steady. "Chen, I'm meeting someone." "Oh," the hostess's smile went brittle. "Right this way." Maya followed her through the narrow pathway between tables, her wheelchair clipping a chair that some genius had pushed out too far. A woman gasped. A man glared like Maya had hit his chair on purpose, like she existed just to inconvenience him. "I'm so sorry," Maya started automatically. "Don't." The voice stopped her cold. Deep, firm, absolute. Marcus Williams stood beside a corner booth, 6'2" of quiet intensity, in a charcoal button-down that made his dark skin look like warm earth in sunset. His eyes, sharp, intelligent kind, locked on Maya's face. Not her wheelchair, her face. "Don't apologize for existing," he said. Maya's breath caught. Nobody had ever said that to her. Not like that. Not with the kind of certainty that made it feel like truth instead of platitude. "I'm late," she managed. "Traffic on the 405's a nightmare." Marcus moved around the table with easy confidence, pulling out the chair across from his seat. "I asked them to remove it. Figured you'd need the space." Such a small thing. Such a thoughtful, normal, devastating thing. Maya rolled into position, her hands still trembling as she locked her wheels. "Thank you." "Don't thank me for basic consideration." Marcus sat down, and when he smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkled. "That's just being a decent human." The hostess hovered nearby, clearly lost. "We're good," Marcus told her not unkindly. "Thank you." When they were alone, Maya realized she'd been holding her breath. She forced herself to exhale, to meet Marcus's eyes, to not immediately launch into her standard first date disclaimer about her wheelchair, her limitations, her complicated life. "Your profile didn't mention you were this direct," she said instead. "Your profile didn't mention you were this beautiful." Maya felt heat flood her face. "That's true," Marcus finished. "Your pictures were nice. You in person is something else entirely." I'm not," Maya fumbled for words, completely off balance. Men didn't flirt with her anymore. Not since the accident. They pitied her, avoided her, occasionally fetishized her, but they didn't just see her. "You're not what," Marcus leaned forward slightly, genuinely interested. "Used to compliments," Maya admitted. Something shifted in Marcus's expression. Not pity, she would have recognized that instantly. Understanding, maybe. Recognition. "Then people are idiots," he said simply. Before Maya could respond, their waiter appeared, young, eager, with a man bun and aggressive enthusiasm. His eyes skated right over Maya, landing on Marcus. "Evening, sir. What can I get you started with tonight?" Marcus's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "She'll order first." The waiter blinked, his gaze finally dropping to Maya. The surprise in his expression made her stomach turn. "I'll have the salmon," Maya said, keeping her voice level even as fury and humiliation burned in her chest. "Medium rare, salad instead of fries, dressing on the side." "Great." The waiter's pen moved across his notepad. "And for you, sir." "Actually," Marcus said, his voice dropping into a register that made the waiter freeze. "Before I order, I need to address something. When you approach a table with 2 customers, you look at both of them. You acknowledge both of them. You don't make one person invisible because they're in a wheelchair." The waiter's face went scarlet. I wasn't." You absolutely were. Marcus's tone wasn't cruel, but it was unyielding. And you're going to apologize, not to me, to her. Maya wanted to disappear, wanted to wave it off, say it was fine, anything to end this excruciating moment. But Marcus's words from earlier echoed in her head. Don't apologize for existing. The waiter turned to her, and this time he really looked, really saw her. I apologize, he said quietly. That was unprofessional and disrespectful. I'm sorry. Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. After the waiter left, she stared at Marcus. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. His voice gentled. You deserve basic respect, Maya. That shouldn't be something you have to fight for every single day. Most people don't see it that way. Then most people need to do better. Marcus picked up his water glass, and Maya noticed his hand wasn't quite steady. I learned that lesson the hard way. What do you mean? Marcus was quiet for a long moment, his fingers drumming against the condensation on his glass. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, rougher. My daughter Zoe, she's 7, autistic, nonverbal. He pulled out his phone, showed Maya a picture of a little girl with her hair in 2 puffs, wearing a NASA t-shirt, her smile wide and uninhibited. 3 years ago, my ex-wife and I were at a restaurant in Santa Monica. Zoe had a meltdown, full sensory overload, screaming, knocking things off the table, the works. Maya's chest tightened. The manager asked us to leave, Marcus continued, said we were disturbing the other guests. My ex was mortified, trying to calm Zoe down. And this woman at the next table, his voice went hard. She said, can't you control your child? Some of us are trying to enjoy our dinner. Marcus. I lost it. He looked up, meeting Maya's eyes. Told that woman exactly what I thought of her and her entitled ableist bullshit. Got us banned from the restaurant. My ex said I made it worse, made a scene, embarrassed her. He paused. We were divorced 6 months later. Maya reached across the table without thinking, covering his hand with hers. She was wrong. The woman, the manager, your ex, all of them. Yeah. Marcus turned his hand over, lacing his fingers through hers. But I still lost my family. Zoe lives in Chicago now with her mom and stepdad. I see her 1 weekend a month and half the summer. I miss every day in between. That's why you signed up for the dating app, Maya said softly. Your daughter told you that you were lonely. Marcus's eyebrows rose. How did you? You mentioned it in one of your messages, that Zoe said you needed to meet someone. Maya squeezed his hand. She was worried about you. She asked me last month if I was sad because I didn't have anyone to share my Cheerios with. Marcus's laugh was rough, painful. She's 7, and she's already more emotionally intelligent than most adults I know. She sounds amazing. She is. She's also the reason I saw your profile and immediately knew I had to message you. Marcus's thumb traced small circles on Maya's palm. Your bio, you quoted Frida Kahlo. I paint myself because I am so often alone and because I am the subject I know best. That's not just about art. That's about isolation, about being surrounded by people who don't really see you. Maya's throat went tight. You got all that from a Kahlo quote. I got it from the look in your eyes in your pictures. Marcus's voice dropped. That smile that doesn't quite reach all the way. The careful angle of every photo, like you're trying to show enough, but not too much. The way you listed your job and your hobbies, but nothing about who you really are underneath all of that. Stop. Maya pulled her hand back, her heart hammering. You don't know me. Not yet, Marcus agreed, but I'd like to, if you'll let me. Maya's phone buzzed. She grabbed for it, reflexively desperate for the interruption, and her stomach dropped when she saw the screen. Emergency. Jamie asking for you. Can you come? Her supervisor. The hospital. I have to go, Maya said, already unlocking her wheels. I'm sorry, there's a patient. He's 15, bone cancer. We've been working together for months, and if he's asking for me specifically, go. Marcus was already standing, signaling their waiter. I'll get the food boxed. You can eat later. I'm so sorry, this is terrible first date etiquette. Maya. Marcus's voice cut through her spiral. A kid needs you. That's not terrible etiquette. That's you being exactly who you're supposed to be. Go. Maya stared at him, something cracking open in her chest. I'll walk you out, Marcus said. I can manage. I know you can. I'm offering anyway. His expression was gentle but firm. There's a difference between helping because I think you're helpless and helping because I care. Learn to tell them apart. 20 minutes later, Maya was in her car with 2 takeout containers balanced on her lap and Marcus's number saved in her phone. He'd walk beside her through the parking garage, not hovering, not grabbing her chair, just there, present. At her car, he'd helped her transfer the food without making it a whole thing, and then he'd said something that was still playing on repeat in her head. Text me when you're done tonight. No matter how late, I want to make sure you got home safe. Maya drove to the hospital in a daze, Marcus's words mixing with the fear about Jamie, with the unfamiliar warmth spreading through her chest that felt dangerously close to hope. The pediatric ward was hushed when she arrived. Most kids' asleep monitors beeping softly, the smell of antiseptic and fear. Jamie's room was at the end. Maya heard voices before she reached it, his mother Linda, his father, a doctor. She knocked on the doorframe. Bad time. Linda looked up, her eyes red. Maya, thank God. Jamie was curled on his side in the hospital bed facing away. 15 years old and so small it hurt to see. Can we have a moment? Maya asked quietly. Linda nodded, ushering everyone out. When the door closed, Maya rolled closer. Hey, Jamie, your mom said you needed me. Silence. Then barely audible. They want to cut off my leg. Maya's heart shattered. She'd known this was coming. Jamie's tumor wasn't responding to chemo. Amputation was the only option left. But hearing it in his broken voice made it real. They want to save your life, Maya said gently. I'd rather die. Jamie turned over and his face was pale, tear-streaked, furious. You don't get it. You're in a wheelchair, but you had legs. You know what it's like. I'll never know. I'll just be broken from the start. Maya took a breath, choosing her words with surgical precision. You're right, I did walk. For 28 years, I took it for granted. Then a drunk driver ran a red light and everything changed. Jamie was listening now, really listening. You know what the worst part was? Maya continued. Not the pain, not the surgeries or the therapy. It was everyone treating me like I wasn't whole anymore, like I'd become less than human because my body worked differently. That's what it feels like, Jamie whispered. Already. I know. And if you have this surgery, yeah, your life will change. It'll be hard, some days impossible. Maya leaned forward. But you'll still be you, Jamie. Still the kid who makes terrible puns. Still the guy who draws mechanical dragons. Still the person who wants to design video games. Your leg doesn't define you, your spirit does. With one leg. With one leg and prosthetics that'll let you do most things. With a body that's cancer-free and alive. Maya's voice cracked. I'm not going to lie and say it'll be easy. People will stare. They'll make assumptions. But you get to prove them wrong every single day. That's a power they'll never have. Jamie was crying now, really crying. Do you ever wish you died in the accident? Maya had promised herself she'd always be honest with her patients, even when it destroyed her. Yes, she said, every day for 6 months. I was angry and scared and so tired of fighting. But then I started working here with kids like you, and I realized my body might not work the same way, but I still work. My mind, my heart, my ability to help people. That's enough. Is it really, Jamie's voice broke, enough? Most days, Maya said truthfully. Some days it has to be. Jamie cried for a long time. Maya held his hand through it, not offering empty comfort, just being present. When Linda came back, 20 minutes later, Jamie was sitting up, his eyes clearer. I'll do it, he told his mother. The surgery. Linda burst into tears, pulling him into a fierce hug. Over Jamie's shoulder, she mouthed thank you to Maya. In the hallway, Maya slumped in her chair, exhausted. These conversations took everything. Every single time. Her phone buzzed. Marcus still there. Maya smiled despite her bone-deep tiredness. Just finished. Heading home. Drive safe. Tomorrow's Saturday. Breakfast. Maya stared at the message, her thumb hovering. She should say no. She had laundry errands, patient notes. She should pace herself. She typed, I'd like that. Pick you up at 10, I'll send my address. Maya was still smiling when she got home to find her neighbor's car in her accessible spot. Again, for the 4th time this month. She parked 2 rows over, psyching herself up for the long roll to her building. Her arms ached. She still had to shower, eat, sleep. Her phone rang. Marcus. Hello. I know I already texted, he said, but I wanted to hear your voice. Make sure you're really okay. Something in Maya's chest cracked wider. I'm okay, tired. It was rough. The kid, is he going to be all right? Eventually, it's going to but be a long road. He's lucky to have you. I don't know about that. I do. Marcus's voice was firm. I saw how you talked about your work at dinner, how your whole face lit up. You care, Maya. Really care. That's rare. Maya felt tears burning. Marcus, why are you really calling? A pause, then quietly, because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. Because all I want is to hear about your day, to make sure tomorrow morning is real and not something I imagined. It's real, Maya whispered. Good. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. After they hung up, Maya sat in her car for 5 more minutes just breathing, feeling. It had been so long since anyone made her feel seen, valued, wanted. Not despite her wheelchair, just wanted. She finally started the transfer, her mind drifting to tomorrow, to breakfast, to possibility. She was so lost in thought, she almost didn't notice the man approaching until he was right there. Excuse me, Miss Need help, security guard, middle-aged, concerned expression. Maya's guard slammed up. I'm fine. You've been sitting here a while. Car trouble. I said I'm fine. Too sharp. She knew it immediately. The guard backed off, hands up. Just trying to help, ma'am. After he left, Maya sat there drowning in guilt and frustration. He'd been nice, she'd been a bitch. But she was so tired of being approached like a problem needing solving. By the time she got inside, fed her cat, collapsed into bed, it was past midnight. One last message from Marcus glowed on her screen. Sweet dreams. Maya fell asleep with her phone in her hand, a small smile on her face, letting herself hope that maybe, just maybe, she deserved something good. She had no idea how wrong that hope would prove to be, or how soon everything would fall apart. Marcus showed up at 9:45, 15 minutes early, holding 2 coffees and looking nervous. Maya watched him through her living room window, her stomach doing complicated gymnastics. She changed outfits 3 times, finally settling on a blue sweater that brought out her eyes and jeans that didn't bunch weird around her legs. She'd even put on makeup, which she never did anymore. The doorbell rang. Maya rolled to the door, took a breath, opened it. Marcus's face broke into a smile that made her forget how to breathe. Hi. Hi yourself. Maya accepted the coffee he offered, their fingers brushing. Electric. You're early. Couldn't wait. He didn't look embarrassed about admitting it. You look beautiful. You said that last night. Still true this morning. Marcus stepped back, giving her space to roll out and lock her door. There's a place about 10 minutes from here. Best pancakes in the city, supposedly. Fully accessible entrance, wide aisles, accessible bathroom. I called ahead to check. Maya stopped mid-roll, staring at him. You called ahead. Is that weird? I should have asked first. I just thought. No, Maya's voice came out rough. No, nobody's ever done that before. Marcus's expression softened. Then you've been dating the wrong people. They took Marcus's car, a Subaru Outback with enough space in the back for Maya's folded wheelchair. He helped her transfer without hovering, his hand steady and sure, and Maya tried not to think about how good it felt to be touched with such casual confidence. The restaurant was exactly as advertised. Ramped entrance, wide pathways, a table that let Maya roll right up without anyone having to move furniture around. The waitress looked at Maya first when taking their order. Small victories. So, Marcus said after they'd ordered, tell me about the patient you saw last night, if you can talk about it. Maya wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. 15-year-old boy. Bone cancer. They want to amputate his leg to save his life. He wanted to die instead. Marcus went very still. And I told him the truth, that it would be hard, that people would treat him differently, that some days he'd hate his body and his life and everything about his situation. Maya met Marcus's eyes, but that he'd still be himself, that his body doesn't define who he is. Do you believe that? Marcus asked quietly. About yourself? Maya's throat tightened. I'm working on it. That's honest. Marcus reached across the table and Maya let him take her hand. Zoe's therapist told me something once. She said the hardest part of accepting a disability isn't the physical stuff. It's unlearning the idea that you're broken. Your daughter's in therapy. Has been since she was 4. Occupational therapy, speech therapy, behavioral therapy. Marcus's thumb traced circles on her palm. Her mom and I tried everything. The therapist helped, but you know what helped more? Treating Zoe like a complete person instead of a problem to fix. Is that what your ex-wife did? Treated her like a problem? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Sarah loved Zoe, loves her, but she also spent every day trying to make Zoe normal. Special diets, intensive therapy schedules, taking her to specialist after specialist, who all said the same thing. Zoe is autistic, she'll always be autistic, and that's not something that needs to be cured. But Sarah didn't accept that. Sarah wanted the daughter she'd imagined having, the one who'd have play dates and join ballet and go to prom. Marcus's voice went hard. When Zoe turned 5 and still wasn't talking, Sarah started researching these intensive intervention programs. 40 hours a week of therapy for a 5-year-old. Maya's grip on his hand tightened. Please tell me you didn't. I said no. We had the biggest fight of our marriage. She said I was giving up on our daughter. I said she was trying to erase who our daughter actually was. Marcus looked down at their joined hands. We separated 2 months later. I'm sorry. Don't be. Zoe's happier now. Sarah finally found a therapist who helped her understand that acceptance isn't giving up, it's just loving your kid for who they are. He paused. Took her getting remarried to figure it out, but better late than never. Their food arrived: pancakes for Maya and omelet for Marcus, and they ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Maya was acutely aware of how normal this felt. How easy. No awkward explanations, no pitying looks, no Marcus trying too hard or not trying at all. Can I ask you something? Marcus said eventually. Depends on the question. Your accident, do you want to talk about it or is that off limits? Maya set down her fork, considering. Most people either avoided the topic completely or demanded the full story with ghoulish curiosity. Marcus was offering her the choice. 3 years ago, she said slowly, I was driving home from a gallery opening. One of my patients, this incredible 12-year-old artist, had her work displayed. I stayed late celebrating with her family. I was happy, really genuinely happy. Marcus didn't interrupt, didn't rush her. I was at a red light on Wilshire. This guy drunk, it turned out, later ran the light going 60. T-boned my driver's side. Maya's hands were shaking now. She pressed them flat against the table. I woke up 3 days later in the hospital. Couldn't feel my legs. Doctor said I had a spinal cord injury. Incomplete, which meant maybe I'd walk again with therapy. Maybe. But you didn't. I did actually, for about 6 months, with a walker with braces with every ounce of strength I had. Maya's voice cracked. Then I had a fall, fractured my hip, damaged the nerves further. After that, the wheelchair became permanent. Marcus was very quiet. When Maya finally looked up, she saw something raw in his expression. Not pity, understanding, grief. The drunk driver, Marcus said. What happened to him? 6 months in county jail, 3 years probation. He served 4 months, got out early for good behavior. Maya laughed bitter. He apologized in court, said he made a mistake, he'd learned his lesson. The judge called it a tragedy for everyone involved. That's bullshit. Yeah. Maya picked up her fork again, pushing pancakes around her plate. My lawyer wanted to file a civil suit, but I was so tired of fighting. Tired of being angry. I just wanted to move on. Have you moved on? Maya met his eyes. Some days, other days I see someone walking down the street without thinking about it, and I want to scream. That's allowed, Marcus said gently. Being okay and being angry aren't mutually exclusive. Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and felt her stomach drop. Dr. Patel? Her neurologist? I need to take this, she said, rolling back from the table slightly. Hello. Maya, hi. Sorry to call on a Saturday. Dr. Patel's voice was professionally cheerful, which immediately set off alarm bells. I got your MRI results back from last week. Can you come in Monday morning? I'd like to discuss them in person. Maya's hand went numb around her phone. In person meant bad news. In person meant something was wrong. What did the MRI show? She asked, aware of Marcus watching her, aware of her voice shaking. I'd rather discuss this face to face, but if you're concerned, there's some progression of the scarring on your spinal cord. It's not an emergency, but we should talk about treatment options. Treatment options, progression. Maya's world tilted sideways. Monday morning, she managed. What time? 8:30, work for you. Fine, I'll be there. She hung up and sat there staring at nothing, her breakfast congealing on her plate. Maya, Marcus's voice seemed to come from very far away. What's wrong? Nothing, it's fine. Just a follow-up appointment. The lies came easily, automatically. She'd gotten so good at lying, at pretending everything was manageable, under control. You're shaking. Maya looked down. Her hands were trembling so badly she had to clasp them in her lap. I said it's fine. Don't do that. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. Don't shut me out. Not after everything we just talked about. You don't know me well enough to what care that you're clearly terrified about something. Marcus leaned forward. Talk to me. Maya felt something crack inside her chest. My MRI. There's scarring, progression, which means things are getting worse, not better. Which means the pain I've been having isn't just phantom nerve pain or muscle strain or any of the other things I've been telling myself. It's real. It's happening. And I can't, her voice broke. I can't do this again. I can't go through more treatments, more tests, more doctors telling me to be hopeful while my body falls apart piece by piece. The tears came then, hot and humiliating, and Maya pressed her palms against her eyes, trying to force them back. She would not cry in a restaurant. She would not. She felt movement, and then Marcus was there, kneeling beside her wheelchair, his hand on her knee. Look at me, he said quietly. Maya shook her head. Maya, please. She finally dropped her hands, and Marcus's face was right there, close enough that she could see gold flecks in his brown eyes, close enough that she could see the absolute certainty in his expression. You don't have to do this alone, he said. Whatever this is, whatever comes next, you don't have to carry it by yourself. You barely know me. I know enough. Marcus's hand moved from her knee to her hand, lacing their fingers together. I know you're strong enough to tell a scared kid the truth, even when it breaks your heart. I know you put everyone else first and yourself dead last. I know you're terrified of being too much, of asking for help, of letting anyone see you struggle. Maya stared at him, her chest tight. How do you? Because I do the same thing. Marcus's smile was sad. After Zoe was diagnosed, after Sarah left, I spent 2 years pretending I had everything under control. I worked. I took care of my daughter when she visited. I told everyone I was fine. Then one day I had a panic attack in the middle of a grocery store because they were out of the specific brand of juice boxes Zoe liked. Marcus. I ended up in therapy. Best decision I ever made. He squeezed her hand. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you need help. Maya's phone rang again. She almost didn't answer, but the screen showed her supervisor's name. Work. Always work. I have to. Take it, Marcus said, standing up, but not letting go of her hand. Maya answered. Dr. Reyes? Maya, thank God. I know it's your day off, but we have a situation. Jamie's refusing to prep for surgery. He's asking for you. Can you come in? Maya closed her eyes. Of course. Of course Jamie was panicking. Of course he needed her. Of course work was calling on her one day off, the one morning she'd allowed herself to hope for something normal. I'll be there in 30 minutes, she heard herself say. You're a lifesaver, thank you. Maya hung up and looked at Marcus, waiting for the disappointment, the frustration, the "you've got to be kidding me" that she'd seen on every other man's face when work interrupted their time together. Instead, Marcus just picked up his jacket. Hospital's 20 minutes from here. If we take surface streets, I'll drive. Maya blinked. You don't have to. I know, I want to. He was already signaling their waitress for the check. Besides, I'd like to meet this kid who's got you dropping everything on a Saturday morning. Marcus, this could take hours. You don't have to waste your whole day. It's not a waste if I'm spending it with you. He said it so simply, so matter-of-factly, that Maya felt tears threatening again. Come on, that kid's waiting. 23 minutes later, they pulled into the hospital parking garage. Maya directed Marcus to the accessible spaces, hyper-aware of how quickly he was being pulled into the messy reality of her life. Most guys ran at this point. The hospital visits, the emergency calls, the constant reminders that her work wasn't just a job. It was a calling that didn't respect boundaries or schedules. But Marcus just helped her with her chair rolled beside her, through the maze of hallways to the pediatric ward, and didn't complain once. Jamie's room was chaos. Linda was crying. Jamie's father was arguing with Dr. Reyes, and Jamie himself was sitting on the edge of his hospital bed, dressed in street clothes, Instead of a surgical gown, his face set in stubborn lines. Jamie, Maya said from the doorway, and everyone stopped talking. Jamie looked at her, his eyes red. I changed my mind. I'm not doing it. Maya rolled into the room, acutely aware of Marcus staying in the hallway, giving them space. What happened? Tell her, Linda said, her voice shaking. Tell her what you told us. Jamie's jaw worked. I looked it up, online. What it's really like. The phantom pain, the infections, the prosthetics that don't fit right. People saying they'd rather be dead than live like that. Maya's heart sank. Jamie, you said it would be hard. You didn't say it would be hell. Jamie's voice cracked. You didn't say I'd spend the rest of my life in pain, that I'd need revision surgeries, that half the time the prosthetic wouldn't even work right. Because I also didn't tell you about the people who run marathons with prosthetics, who climb mountains, who live full, rich lives. Maya rolled closer. The internet shows you extremes, Jamie. The worst case scenarios and the inspirational porn success stories. Real life is messier and more complicated, and also more hopeful than either of those. How would you know? The question came out hard, accusatory. You're in a wheelchair. You don't have a prosthetic. You don't know what it's like. Maya took the hit without flinching. You're right, I don't. But I know what it's like to have strangers on the internet tell me my life isn't worth living. I know what it's like to read horror stories about complications and pain and decide maybe dying would be easier. The room went very quiet. Did you, Jamie asked, decide that, Ian? Maya had never told anyone this story, not her therapist, not her family. But looking at Jamie's terrified face, she knew she had to. 6 months after my accident, I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep. Nerve pain, muscle spasms, phantom sensations in legs I couldn't feel. The medications made me sick. Physical therapy was torture. And everyone kept telling me to stay positive, keep fighting, it would get better. Maya's voice dropped. One night I counted out all my pain pills, figured out how many it would take, wrote a note. Linda gasped. Jamie went white. What stopped you? Jamie whispered. My cat. Maya laughed, rough and painful. Stupid, right? But she jumped on my lap and started purring, and I realized if I did this, there'd be no one to feed her. No one to take care of her. And if I could stay alive one more day for a cat, maybe I could stay alive one more day for myself. That's it, a cat. That was the first day. The next day I stayed alive because one of my former patients sent me a card. The day after that because my sister called and it made me laugh. Little reasons, Jamie. You string enough of them together and eventually you have a life again. Jamie was crying now. What if I can't find enough reasons? Then you borrow mine until you do. Maya reached out and Jamie took her hand. You've got your mom who loves you enough to fall apart in this hospital room. Your dad who's fighting the doctors to protect you. Your little sister who drew you pictures of dinosaurs and taped them all over your walls at home. How did you know about that? Your mom told me. She also told me your sister said you're her hero. Maya squeezed his hand. That's a reason, right there, Jamie. Being someone's hero, living long enough to see what kind of person she grows up to be. The silence stretched. Jamie stared at their joined hands, his breathing ragged. I'm scared, he finally said. I know, being scared is okay. Being scared and doing it anyway, that's bravery. Jamie looked up and Maya saw the decision forming in his eyes before he spoke. Okay, he said. Okay, I'll do it. But I need you to promise me something. What? That you'll be here after, when I wake up. His voice broke. I don't want to wake up alone. Maya's throat closed. She looked at Dr. Reyes, who was already checking her tablet. Surgery's scheduled for 2 p.m., Dr. Reyes said. Recovery will take 4 to 6 hours. You'll be here until at least 8 tonight. Maya thought about Marcus waiting in the hallway, about the breakfast they'd abandoned the day they planned, about how this was exactly the kind of thing that had driven away every other person she tried to date. I'll be here, she told Jamie. I promise. After Jamie's family helped him change back into his surgical gown and the nurses came to prep him, Maya rolled out into the hallway. Marcus was sitting in one of those terrible plastic chairs scrolling through his phone. He looked up when she approached and his expression was carefully neutral. Let me guess, he said. You need to stay. Until 8, maybe later. Maya couldn't look at him. I'm sorry, I know this isn't how you wanted to spend your Saturday. If you want to leave, do you have lunch plans? Maya blinked. What? It's 11:30. Surgery's at 2. That gives us 2.5 hours. Marcus stood up, pocketing his phone. There's a good sandwich place across the street. We could eat, come back, wait together. Marcus, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. He stepped closer, and Maya could see the sincerity in his eyes. Unless you'd rather I go if you need space to work, I understand. Maya stared at him. This man she'd known for less than 24 hours, who was offering to spend his Saturday in a hospital waiting room for a kid he'd never met. I'd like you to stay, she said quietly. Marcus's smile was like sunrise. Then let's get lunch. They ate sandwiches in the hospital cafeteria, surrounded by worried families and exhausted medical staff. Marcus told her about Zoe's latest obsession, marine biology, and how she'd convinced him to take her to the aquarium 4 times in the last month. She stands in front of the jellyfish tank for hours, Marcus said, shaking his head fondly, just watching them pulse and drift. She says they're proof that you don't need a brain to be beautiful. Maya laughed despite everything. That's weirdly profound for a 7-year-old. That's Zoe. She sees the world differently than most people. Sometimes I think she understands things the rest of us miss entirely. At 1:45, they headed back to the surgical floor. Linda and Jamie's father were already there, looking wrung out and terrified. Maya introduced them to Marcus, who shook their hands and offered quiet, genuine words of support that didn't sound like empty platitudes. At 2 p.m. exactly, they wheeled Jamie past on a gurney. He was drowsy from the pre-op meds, but reached out when he saw Maya. You'll be here, he slurred. I'll be here, Maya promised. Then he was gone, disappeared behind the surgical suite's double doors, and all they could do was wait. The first hour passed slowly. Linda couldn't sit still, pacing the waiting room in tight circles. Jamie's father sat rigid in his chair, jaw clenched. Marcus read a book on his phone. And Maya answered work emails, coordinated with her other patients' families, checked in with her supervisor about coverage for Monday's appointment with Dr. Patel that she was now dreading even more. At hour 2, Linda broke. It's taking too long, she said, her voice rising. It shouldn't take this long. Something's wrong. The surgeon said 4 to 6 hours for the full procedure, Maya reminded her gently. We're still in the normal range. You don't know that. You don't. Linda stopped pressing her hand over her mouth. I'm sorry. I know you're trying to help. Don't apologize. You're allowed to be scared. Linda sank into a chair, tears streaming down her face. What if something goes wrong? What if he doesn't wake up? What if her husband put his arm around her and she collapsed against him, sobbing? Maya felt Marcus's hand on her shoulder, warm and steady. She reached up, covering it with her own, taking strength from the contact. 3 hours and Maya's back was screaming. She'd been in her chair since 9 a.m., hadn't stretched, hadn't taken her pain medication. She tried to shift positions quietly, but Marcus noticed. You need to move, he said low enough that only she could hear. I'm fine. You're in pain. I can see it. He stood up. Come on. There's a physical therapy room down the hall. You can stretch. I'll help. I can't leave. You're 30 feet away. If anything changes, they'll come get you. Marcus was already moving toward the hallway. 5 minutes, Maya. You're no good to Jamie if you're in agony. He was right, and Maya hated that he was right. She followed him to the PT room, empty on a Saturday, and let him help her transfer to a mat table. The relief of being out of her chair was immediate and enormous. Where does it hurt? Marcus asked. Everywhere. Maya tried to laugh, but it came out more like a groan. Lower back mostly, hips, shoulders from pushing all day. Can I? Marcus's hands hovered near her shoulders. Maya nodded, and then his hands were on her, strong and sure, working out the knots in her shoulders with careful pressure. She couldn't stop the small sound of relief that escaped her throat. Better? Marcus asked. Don't stop, Maya murmured, her eyes closing. They stayed like that for a few minutes. Marcus's hands gentle on her tense muscles. Maya finally letting herself relax for the first time all day. It was intimate in a way that had nothing to do with romance and everything to do with trust. Thank you, Maya said quietly, for staying, for this, for not running when you saw how complicated my life is. Marcus's hand stilled. You think your life is complicated. I know it is. The hospital calls the patients who need me at random hours, the physical limitations, the pain, all of it. Maya opened her eyes, looking up at him. Most guys can't handle it. Then most guys are idiots. Marcus helped her sit up, his hand steadying her. Yeah, your life is complicated. So is mine. Zoe's needs the co-parenting across state lines. My own stuff I'm working through in therapy. We're both messy, Maya. That doesn't make us incompatible. It makes us human. Before Maya could respond, someone called from the hallway. Ms. Chen, Jamie's out of surgery. They rushed back to the waiting room. Bart Harrison, the orthopedic surgeon, was standing with Linda and Jamie's father, still in his surgical scrubs. The surgery went well, he said, and Linda sagged with relief. We were able to remove the tumor with clear margins. Jamie's in recovery now, still under anesthesia, but all his vitals are stable. When can we see him? Linda asked. Another hour or so. He'll be groggy, probably nauseous from the anesthesia, but he's going to be okay. After Dr. Harrison left, Linda turned to Maya and hugged her so hard Maya's ribs creaked. Thank you, Linda whispered. Thank you for getting him to agree, for being here, for everything. Maya hugged her back, blinking away tears. He's a fighter. He's going to do great. Another hour of waiting. Marcus got coffee from the cafeteria. Terrible coffee, but warm and caffeinated. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from her sister asking if she wanted to do lunch tomorrow. She replied that she'd let her know, already calculating whether she'd have the energy after tonight, after Monday's appointment with Dr. Patel, after whatever came next. Finally, a nurse appeared. Family for Jamie Chen. They all stood up. Just family for now, the nurse said, apologetically looking at Maya. She's family, Linda said firmly. She stays. The nurse nodded and led them back to recovery. Jamie was in a bed, pale and small, his eyes half open and unfocused. A white blanket covered him from the chest, down hiding where his right leg ended above the knee. Hey, buddy, Maya said softly, rolling close to the bed. Jamie's eyes tracked to her. You're here, he slurred. I promised, didn't I? Thought maybe you'd leave. His words were thick, confused from the anesthesia. Not a chance. Maya took his hand. How do you feel? Weird, dizzy, my leg hurts. He paused, his forehead creasing. The one that's not there hurts. That doesn't make sense. Phantom limb pain, Maya said. It's completely normal. Your brain is still mapping signals from nerves that aren't there anymore. It'll get better with time. How much time? Depends on the person. Could be weeks, could be months. Jamie's eyes filled with tears. I can't do months of this. You can, Maya said firmly. One day at a time. Remember, today, you just have to get through today. Tomorrow, you'll get through tomorrow. Jamie's hand tightened on hers. What if I can't? Then you call me and I'll remind you why you're doing this, why you're still here. Maya leaned forward. You're not alone in this, Jamie. You've got your family, your doctors, me. We're all here. Jamie nodded, his eyes starting to close again. Tired. Then sleep. I'll be right here. He was asleep within seconds, his face smoothing out, his hands still clasped in Maya's. Linda came up beside her. So, you should go home. Get some rest. We'll stay with him. Maya glanced at the clock, 7:45. She'd been here for almost 9 hours. Her back was on fire, her head was pounding, and she hadn't taken any of her medications. But Jamie's hand was still holding hers. Just a little longer, Maya said. Marcus appeared in the doorway, 2 bottles of water and a package of crackers in his hands. He'd been gone for 20 minutes and Maya realized she hadn't even noticed. He handed her the water and crackers without a word, then settled into a chair against the wall, pulled out his phone and started reading again. Not pushing her to leave, not complaining, just there. At 8:30, Jamie woke up briefly, asked for his mom, and Maya finally let Linda take her place beside the bed. Go, Linda said gently. You've done enough for one day. In the hallway, Maya let herself slump in her chair, exhaustion hitting her like a physical weight. Marcus appeared beside her, his hand on her shoulder. Ready to go home? Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. The drive home was quiet. Maya stared out the window, watching Los Angeles blur past, trying not to think about Monday's appointment, about what progression meant, about whether she'd end up like Jamie one day facing another surgery, another loss, another piece of herself carved away. You okay? Marcus asked quietly. No, The honesty surprised her. But I will be. Marcus pulled up outside her building. Maya expected him to help her with her chair and leave, but instead he parked and turned to face her. Can I see you tomorrow? He asked, Maya's heart squeezed. Marcus, you just spent your entire Saturday in a hospital because of me. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. Stop telling me what I don't have to do. His voice was gentle but firm. I want to see you tomorrow, if you want to see me. I have an appointment Monday morning, Maya heard herself say, with my neurologist about my MRI results, and I'm terrified. Do you want company? Maya stared at him. You'd come with me to a doctor's appointment after one date. We're past counting dates, Maya. Marcus reached over, taking her hand. I like you. A lot. And I don't care if that's too fast or too intense or whatever. Life's too short to pretend you don't care about people. Maya felt tears burning again, and this time she didn't try to stop them. I like you too, she whispered, more than I should after one date. Then let me be there Monday. Let me help. Maya thought about facing Dr. Patel alone, about hearing whatever bad news was coming by herself, about coming home to an empty apartment and pretending she was fine. Okay, she said. Okay, yes, please. Marcus smiled, and it was like light breaking through clouds. Pick you up at 8. It's at 8:30. The office is only 10 minutes from here. I know. I want to get coffee first. Actual good coffee, not hospital cafeteria sludge. Maya laughed through her tears. You're ridiculous. You like it. Marcus squeezed her hand, then let go and got out to help her with her chair. At her apartment door, Maya turned to face him. Thank you for today, for all of it. You already thanked me. I mean it. Maya's voice shook. Nobody's ever just stayed before. Through all the mess and the complications in the hospital and everything. They always leave. I'm not them, Marcus said simply. Then moving slowly, giving her time to pull away, he leaned down and kissed her forehead. Gentle, sweet, perfect. See you tomorrow, he asked. Tomorrow, Maya agreed. She watched him walk back to his car, watched him drive away, and then she went inside and burst into tears. Good tears for once, hopeful tears. She had no idea how badly she'd need that hope in the days to come. Sunday morning started with a text from Marcus at 6 a.m. Can't sleep. Keep thinking about you. Is that weird? Maya stared at her phone in the pre-dawn darkness, her cat purring on her chest. She'd been awake for an hour already, her mind spinning through worst-case scenarios about tomorrow's appointment. Not weird, she typed back. I've been up since 5. The reply was immediate anxiety or insomnia. Both. Her phone rang 3 seconds later. You don't have to call every time I text you, Maya said, but she was smiling. I wanted to hear your voice. Marcus sounded tired but warm. Tell me what you're worried about. Everything, nothing. The MRI results, what Dr. Patel's going to say, whether the progression means I'll lose more function, whether... Maya stopped, her throat closing. Whether you'll end up needing surgery like Jamie? Marcus finished quietly. Maya pressed her hand over her mouth, nodding even though he couldn't see her. The thought had been circling her brain all night like a vulture. That's not going to happen, Marcus said. You don't know that. You're right, I don't. His honesty was almost painful. But spiraling about possibilities you can't control isn't helping either. What time should I pick you up? Marcus, you don't need to come with me. I can handle this myself. I know you can. That's not the point. She heard rustling like he was sitting up in bed. The point is, you shouldn't have to, not when you have someone who wants to be there. Maya's chest ached. Why are you being so nice to me? Because I like you. Because you're funny and smart and brave and you don't take any of my bullshit. Marcus paused. And because I know what it's like to face scary medical appointments alone. After Zoe was diagnosed, Sarah and I went to specialist after specialist. Geneticists, neurologists, developmental pediatricians. Every appointment felt like waiting for someone to tell us our worst fears were true. What did you do to get through it? Held Sarah's hand. Let her hold mine. Learn that being scared together is better than being scared alone. His voice softened. Let me hold your hand tomorrow, Maya. Please. Maya wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Okay, yes, 8 a.m. I'll bring coffee and those cheese Danish things you liked from the bakery yesterday. After they hung up, Maya lay in bed for another hour staring at the ceiling, trying to convince herself that everything would be fine. The scarring was probably minor. The progression was probably normal. Dr. Patel probably just wanted to adjust her medications or recommend some new physical therapy protocol. She almost believed it. At 7:30, she forced herself up, showered, dressed in clothes that didn't look like she'd been awake all night panicking. Her hands shook while putting on mascara, and she had to redo it twice because she kept smudging it. Marcus showed up at 7:55 with coffee Danish and a smile that made her forget how to breathe. "You look beautiful," he said. "I look exhausted." Beautiful and exhausted aren't mutually exclusive. He handed her the coffee and leaned down to kiss her cheek, casual and sweet, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. The drive to Dr. Patel's office was quiet. Maya picked at her Danish, managing 3 bites before her stomach rebelled. Marcus didn't push her to eat more, just took the rest and finished it himself while they sat in traffic on Sunset Boulevard. "Tell me about Zoe," Maya said, desperate for distraction. "What's she doing this weekend?" Marcus's whole face transformed. "She's in Chicago, supposed to video call me at noon. Last week she informed me that dolphins have names for each other and wanted to know if we could give each other dolphin names too." "Did you confirm?" "I'm now officially known as Click Whistle Click." Marcus grinned. "She's whistle squeak whistle whistle. She made me practice for 20 minutes until I got it right." Maya laughed despite her anxiety. "That's adorable. That's Zoe. She experiences the world through patterns and sounds and connections the rest of us miss." His expression went soft. "Sarah sent me a video yesterday of Zoe organizing her entire rock collection by color, then by size, then by texture. Took her 3 hours. She was completely content the whole time." "You miss her." "Every day." Marcus's hand found Maya's, lacing their fingers together. "But she's happy there. Sarah's new husband David is good with her. Patient. Doesn't try to force her to be someone she's not. That's all I can ask for." They pulled into the medical building's parking structure. Maya's stomach was in knots so tight she felt nauseous. "I need a minute," she said, staring at the building entrance. "Take all the time you need." Marcus didn't let go of her hand. Maya closed her eyes, breathing slowly through her nose. In for 4 hold, for 7, out for 8. The anxiety management technique her therapist had taught her. It barely touched the panic clawing at her throat. "What if it's bad?" she whispered. "What if Dr. Patel says I need surgery, or that I'm going to lose more function, or that... Then we'll deal with it." Marcus's thumb traced circles on her palm. "Together, one step at a time." "You keep saying that, together, but you barely know me." Marcus turned to face her fully. "I know you stayed at a hospital for 9 hours yesterday for a kid who isn't even your patient anymore technically. I know you answer your phone at midnight for work emergencies and don't complain. I know you're terrified right now, but you're still getting out of this car and walking into that office because that's who you are. You face things even when they scare you. I don't feel brave. Bravery isn't about feeling fearless. It's about being scared and doing it anyway." Marcus squeezed her hand. "Come on, let's go find out what we're dealing with." The elevator ride to the 3rd floor felt like descending into hell. Maya's heart hammered so hard she could feel it in her throat. Marcus stood beside her wheelchair, his hand resting on her shoulder, steady and warm. Dr. Patel's office was painted in calming blues and grays, with abstract art on the walls that was probably supposed to be soothing, but just made Maya think of bruises. The receptionist smiled when they entered. "Ms. Chen right on time. Dr. Patel's running about 10 minutes behind, but you can go ahead and get settled in exam room 2. 10 minutes. 10 more minutes of not knowing. The exam room was the same as every other one Maya had been in over the past 3 years. Examination table with that crinkly paper, blood pressure, cuff, anatomical posters showing spinal columns and cross-section. Maya transferred to the exam table, and Marcus sat in the visitor's chair, his phone out, but his attention clearly on her. "You can read," Maya said. "You don't have to just sit there." "I'm good." Marcus looked up, meeting her eyes. "Tell me about your first patient, the one who made you want to do art therapy." Maya blinked at the subject. Change. "What? I want to know. We've got 10 minutes to kill. Tell me." Maya's throat was tight, but she forced the words out. Her name was Sophie. 8 years old, burns over 40% of her body from a house fire. She wouldn't talk to anyone, not the doctors, not the psychologists, not her foster parents. Foster parents. Her mother died in the fire. Father was already out of the picture. Maya's hands twisted in her lap. I was doing my clinical hours for my art therapy certification. My supervisor asked if I wanted to try working with Sophie, said I couldn't make things worse. Encouraging, Marcus said dryly. Yeah, Maya smiled despite everything. I brought in finger paints, told Sophie she didn't have to talk, didn't have to make anything pretty, just had to put her hands in the paint and see what happened. She stared at me for 20 minutes. Then she plunged both hands into the red paint and covered an entire canvas. Just red, angry, violent red everywhere. Marcus was completely still listening. She did that for 6 sessions, just red paint covering everything. Then one day she added black, then white, then other colors started creeping in. Maya's voice went soft. By session 12, she'd painted a garden, flowers and sunshine and a little girl playing. And she looked at me and said, "This is what I remember from before." Before the fire, Marcus said quietly. Yeah, before her whole world burned down. Maya wiped her eyes. She's 16 now, sends me paintings sometimes. She's applying to art schools for next year. You saved her life. I gave her a way to process her trauma. She saved her own life. Before Marcus could respond, the door opened and Dr. Patel walked in. She was in her 50s with steel gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much suffering. Maya, good morning. Dr. Patel's gaze flicked to Marcus, assessing. And this is Marcus Williams. Maya faltered, not sure how to finish that sentence. I'm with her, Marcus said simply, and Dr. Patel nodded. Let's talk about your MRI. Dr. Patel pulled up images on her tablet, turning it so Maya could see. The spinal cord appeared in grayscale cross-sections, and even Maya's untrained eye could see the bright white patches that shouldn't be there. This is scarring, Dr. Patel said, pointing. Arachnoiditis. We've been monitoring it since your accident, and these new images show it's progressed since your last MRI 6 months ago. Maya's mouth went dry. How much? The scarring has extended approximately 15%. It's causing inflammation around your nerve roots, which explains the increased pain you have been experiencing. Dr. Patel's voice was professionally gentle. The good news is that it's not acute. You're not in immediate danger of losing more function. And the bad news? Maya asked, even though she didn't want to know. The bad news is that arachnoiditis is progressive and degenerative. We can't reverse the scarring. We can only manage symptoms and try to slow progression. The room tilted. Maya gripped the edge of the exam table, her knuckles white. What does that mean long-term? Marcus asked, his voice steady, even though Maya could see his jaw clenched tight. It means Maya will likely experience increasing chronic pain. It means the scarring may continue to spread, which could affect nerve function in her lower extremities. Dr. Patel met Maya's eyes. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Arachnoiditis is a challenging condition to manage, but there are treatment options. Like what? Maya's voice came out hoarse. Increased pain management protocols, targeted steroid injections to reduce inflammation. In some cases, surgical intervention to remove adhesions, though, that carries its own risks. Surgery, Maya repeated numbly. It's not something we'd recommend unless your quality of life becomes severely compromised. Right now, I want to start with medication adjustments and see if we can get your pain under better control. Dr. Patel tapped on her tablet. I'm going to refer you to a pain management specialist I work with. Dr. Morrison is excellent with complex cases like yours. Maya barely heard the rest of the appointment. Something about prescription changes, physical therapy, modifications, follow-up appointments in 3 months. Dr. Patel's mouth was moving, making sounds that were probably important, but all Maya could think was progressive and degenerative, progressive and degenerative, progressive and degenerative. Maya, Dr. Patel's voice cut through the spiral. Do you have questions? Maya shook her head, not trusting herself to speak. I know this is overwhelming, Dr. Patel said gently, but you're not alone in this. We have resources, support groups for people living with chronic pain conditions. I can connect you. I'm fine, Maya heard herself say. I don't need support groups. I just need to manage this and keep working. Dr. Patel's expression shifted, concerned. Maya, it's important that you have emotional support as well as medical care. Chronic pain takes a psychological toll. I said I'm fine. Maya's voice came out sharper than she intended. Can I have the prescriptions? Dr. Patel printed the scripts without further comment, but her eyes said everything her mouth didn't. After they left the exam room, Marcus walked beside Maya in silence until they reached the elevator. Don't, Maya said before he could speak. Don't what? Don't ask if I'm okay. Don't tell me it'll be fine. Don't. Her voice cracked. Just don't. The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. Marcus pressed the button for the parking level. I'm not going to say it'll be fine, Marcus said quietly, because maybe it won't be. Maybe you'll be in pain for the rest of your life. Maybe the scarring will progress. Maybe you'll need surgery. Maya flinched at each maybe like they were physical blows. But, Marcus continued, you're still you. Still the person who convinced a terrified kid to have life-saving surgery. Still the therapist who saved an 8-year-old with finger paints. Your body might be working against you, but you're more than your body, Maya. That's easy for you to say. You're not the one falling apart. The elevator doors opened. Marcus followed her to the car, helped her transfer without speaking. The silence stretched thick and suffocating. Halfway home, Maya's phone rang. Work, of course. I need to take this, she said, and Marcus nodded. Maya, hey. It was Dr. Reyes, her supervisor. How'd the appointment go? Maya's throat closed. She couldn't talk about this. Not now. Fine. What do you need? We have a situation. I know you're off today, but the hospital administrator wants to meet with you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Maya's stomach dropped. About what? Your caseload and your hours. Dr. Reyes paused. Look, I shouldn't say anything before the meeting, but they're concerned you're overextending yourself. The board is considering mandatory limits on patient contact hours. They can't do that. Your patients need you functional and healthy, not burned out and in pain. Dr. Reyes's voice gentled. Maya, you've been running yourself into the ground for 3 years. The board's noticed. So have I. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're in the office until 8 or 9 p.m. most nights. You take emergency calls at midnight. You spent your entire Saturday at the hospital with a Jamie when you're not even his primary therapist anymore. Dr. Reyes sighed. You're an incredible therapist, Maya, but you can't pour from an empty cup. After Maya hung up, she stared out the window, watching Los Angeles slide past in a blur of palm trees and traffic. They want to cut my hours, she said dully. Limit my caseload. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Marcus said carefully. Maya's head whipped around. Excuse me. I'm just saying yesterday you were at the hospital for 9 hours on your day off. You answer calls at all hours. When do you rest? When do you take care of yourself? My patients need me. And you need to take care of your health. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. The doctor just told you that you have a progressive pain condition that you need to manage. That's going to require energy and focus and time. You can't keep burning the candle at both ends. So what, I should just abandon the kids who depend on me? Tell them, sorry, I'm too busy managing my own problems to help with theirs. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying, Simon? Maya's voice rose. Because it sounds like you're telling me to choose between my health and my career. I'm saying there has to be a balance. Easy for you to say. You're not the one whose body is actively betraying them. You're not the one who has to prove every single day that you're still valuable despite being disabled. The word hung in the air between them. Disabled. Maya almost never said it out loud. Marcus pulled into her building's parking lot and put the car in park. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Yes, I do. Maya was crying now, angry tears that burned her eyes. Because the second I slow down, the second I admit I can't handle everything, people start looking at me differently. Like I'm broken, like I need to be fixed or managed or... She broke off, pressing her palms against her eyes. Marcus reached for her hand, but Maya pulled away. I need to be alone right now, she said. Maya, please, I need to be alone. Marcus looked like she'd slapped away, but he nodded and got out to help her with her wheelchair. The transfer was silent and awkward, all the easy comfort from earlier gone. I'll call you later, Marcus said, but Maya was already rolling toward her building entrance, her vision blurred with tears. Inside her apartment, Maya barely made it to her bed before the sobs started. Great heaving cries that shook her whole body, 3 years of fear and pain and exhaustion pouring out all at once. Progressive and degenerative. The words echoed in her head. Her body was getting worse, not better. All the physical therapy, all the pain management techniques, all the positive thinking in the world couldn't stop her own nervous system from eating itself alive. Her phone buzzed. "Marcus, I'm sorry if I pushed too hard. I'm here if you want to talk." Maya stared at the message, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She wanted to call him, wanted to hear his voice, wanted to let him hold her while she fell apart. But the fear was stronger. The certainty that if she let him in, let him see just how broken and scared she really was, he'd leave. They always left. She put her phone on silent and buried her face in her pillow. Hours passed. The light outside her window shifted from morning bright to afternoon gray. Maya lay in bed staring at nothing, her mind spinning through worst-case scenarios. Surgery that didn't help, pain that got so bad she couldn't work, losing her job, her purpose, the only thing that made her feel like she mattered. Her phone was full of messages when she finally looked. Marcus checking in, her sister asking about lunch next week, Dr. Reyes confirming tomorrow's meeting, Jamie's mom sending a photo of Jamie sitting up in bed, smiling despite the pain, giving the camera a thumbs up. The photo broke something open in Maya's chest. Here was this kid, 15 years old, missing a leg, facing months of painful recovery and a lifetime of challenges. And he was smiling, fighting, refusing to give up. Maya sat up slowly, her back screaming in protest. She transferred to her wheelchair, rolled to her bathroom, and looked at herself in the mirror. Red eyes, blotchy face, hair, a mess. She looked exactly how she felt, wrecked. But she was still here, still breathing, still capable of helping people even if she couldn't help herself. Her phone rang. Marcus. Maya stared at his name on the screen for 3 rings before answering. "Hi," she said, her voice hoarse. "Hi," Marcus sounded cautious. "Are you okay?" "No, but I will be." Maya took a breath. "I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm sorry I yelled at you. I was scared and I took it out on you, and that wasn't fair." "You don't have to apologize for being scared." "I do have to apologize for being an asshole." Maya managed a weak laugh. "You were trying to help, and I bit your head off. To be fair, I was being pushy. Your supervisor just told you they want to cut your hours. Your doctor just gave you scary news about your health, and I jumped straight to you should work less, like that was helpful." Marcus paused. "I'm sorry, too." Maya closed her eyes, relief flooding through her. "Can we start today over?" "Only if I can still bring you dinner. I'm thinking Thai food and bad movies. Nothing serious, nothing heavy, just food and distraction." "That sounds perfect. 7 p.m. I'll be here." After they hung up, Maya sat in her bathroom for a long moment looking at her reflection. She was terrified about tomorrow's meeting with the hospital administrator, terrified about the progression of her condition, terrified about letting Marcus in and having him see all the messy, broken, scared parts of her. But maybe being terrified was okay. Maybe it didn't make her weak. She showered, changed into clean clothes, took her pain medication, and actually ate something for the first time all day. By the time Marcus showed up at 7 with bags of Thai food and a stack of DVDs from an actual video rental place, Maya felt almost human again. "I didn't know video stores still existed," Maya said, letting him in. "There's one in Los Feliz that specializes in terrible action movies from the 80s and 90s. Marcus unpacked the food on her coffee table. "I got us Die Hard, Speed, and Con Air." "That's quite a range." "I like to provide options." Marcus settled on her couch and Maya rolled over beside him. "How are you feeling? Really?" Maya considered lying, then decided against it. "Scared, angry, tired, said." She paused. "But better than this morning." "That's honest. I appreciate that." Marcus handed her a container of pad thai. "And for what it's worth, I get it. The anger. After Zoe was diagnosed, I was furious for months. At the universe, at genetics, at every parent with a neurotypical kid who complained about normal parenting problems. How did you get past it?" "Therapy. Lots of therapy." Marcus smiled wryly. "And accepting that anger was actually a reasonable response to an unreasonable situation. You're allowed to be angry that your body doesn't work the way it used to. That's not weakness or bitterness or whatever other garbage people try to label it. It's just human." They ate in comfortable silence for a while, the TV playing Die Hard in the background. Maya found herself relaxing for the first time all day, the combination of food and medication, and Marcus's steady presence easing some of the tension from her shoulders. Tell me about tomorrow's meeting, Marcus said during a commercial break. What are you expecting? Maya set down her food, her appetite suddenly gone. Honestly, I think they're going to tell me I need to cut my caseload in half, maybe more. The board's been making noise about therapist burnout for months. And how do you feel about that? Like I'm failing everyone who needs me. Maya's voice cracked. These kids, they've been through hell. Abuse, illness, accidents, trauma. They need consistency. They need someone who shows up for them no matter what. If I cut my hours, I'm just another adult who's letting them down. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then, can I tell you something that might piss you off? That's not a great opening. I know, but I'm going to say it anyway. Marcus turned to face her fully. You're not actually helping those kids if you're running yourself into the ground. You're modeling unhealthy coping mechanisms. You're teaching them that self-sacrifice is the same as strength, and you're going to burn out so completely that you won't be able to help anyone, including yourself. Maya opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. Because he was right. She knew he was right. She just didn't want to admit it. I hate that you're right, she said finally. I know, that's why I warned you first. Marcus reached for her hand. You can be an excellent therapist and still have boundaries. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. Tell that to the hospital board. I will if you want me to. I'm great at telling authority figures they're wrong. Maya laughed despite everything. I believe that. They finished dinner and watched Die Hard, then Speed. Somewhere during Con Air, Maya's head ended up on Marcus's shoulder, his arm around her, and it felt so natural she didn't even remember it happening. Can I ask you something? Maya said during a particularly ridiculous explosion scene. Anything. Why aren't you running? You could have walked away after this morning, after I yelled at you and pushed you away. Most guys would have. Marcus's arm tightened around her. Because I've been where you are. Maybe not the exact situation, but the fear and the anger and the feeling like your life is spiraling out of control. And I remember how much it sucked to go through that alone. You're not going through anything right now. Not actively, no. But I have my own stuff. Anxiety about Zoe. Guilt about the divorce, this constant low-level panic that I'm screwing up her life by being so far away. Marcus paused. We all have our stuff, Maya. The question is whether we face it alone or together. Maya tilted her head up to look at him. Together sounds nice. Yeah, Marcus said softly. It does. He kissed her, then gentle and sweet, and Maya let herself sink into it. Let herself believe just for a moment that maybe this could work. Maybe she could have someone in her corner. Maybe she didn't have to carry everything alone. Her phone buzzed. Maya ignored it. It buzzed again and again. You should check that, Marcus said against her lips. Maya grabbed her phone, ready to silence it, then saw the screen. 5 missed calls from the hospital. 3 from Dr. Reyes. 2 from numbers she didn't recognize. Her stomach dropped. Something's wrong. She called Dr. Reyes back, her heart hammering. Maya, thank God. Dr. Reyes sounded frantic. It's Jamie. He's crashing. Internal bleeding, they think. They're taking him back to surgery now, and he's asking for you. Can you come? Maya was already moving, grabbing her bag, unlocking her wheels. I'm on my way. Marcus stood up immediately. What happened? Jamie, surgery complications. I have to go. Maya was at the door, her hands shaking so badly she could barely turn the lock. I'm driving, Marcus said, already grabbing his keys. They made it to the hospital in 14 minutes. Maya didn't remember most of the drive, just Marcus's hand on her shoulder and the awful certainty that Jamie was dying and she was going to be too late. The surgical floor was chaos. Nurses running, doctors shouting orders, machines beeping urgent warnings. Linda was in the hallway, her face white, her husband's arm around her. What happened? Maya gasped. Internal bleeding. Linda could barely get the words out. They think a blood vessel ruptured. They're operating now, but the surgeon said she broke down completely. Maya's vision tunneled. This couldn't be happening. Jamie had been fine this morning, smiling in that photo, giving her a thumbs up. A surgeon emerged from the operating room, still in the scrub, splattered with blood. His expression told Maya everything before he opened his mouth. We did everything we could, he said, and Maya's world ended. We did everything we could, the surgeon said again, and Linda's scream cut through the hallway like a knife. Maya couldn't move, couldn't breathe. couldn't process what she was hearing. He's stable, the surgeon continued quickly, and the world snapped back into focus. Critical but stable. The next 48 hours are crucial. Maya's hands gripped her armrest so hard her knuckles cracked. He's alive. Yes, barely. We had to remove his spleen and repair significant internal damage. He lost a lot of blood. The surgeon's face was grim. But he's a fighter. He made it through surgery. Now we wait. Linda collapsed against her husband, sobbing with relief so profound it was almost painful to witness. Maya felt Marcus's hand on her shoulder, anchoring her, keeping her from flying apart. Can I see him? Maya asked. He's in recovery, heavily sedated. He won't know you're there. I don't care. I promised him I'd be there when he woke up. The surgeon hesitated, then nodded. 5 minutes. That's all I can give you. Jamie looked dead. That was Maya's first thought when they led her into recovery. His skin was gray, his lips bloodless. Machines breathing for him because his body had forgotten how. Tubes and wires connected him to a dozen different monitors, each one beeping its own urgent rhythm. Maya rolled to his bedside, her vision blurring. Hey, buddy, she whispered. I'm here, just like I promised. No response, not even a flicker behind his closed eyelids. You scared the hell out of everyone, Maya continued, her voice shaking. Your mom's out there falling apart. Your dad looks like he aged 10 years, and me. She had to stop, pressing her hand over her mouth. You can't leave Jamie. You can't. We just got you through the hard part. You don't get to give up now. A nurse touched her shoulder gently. Time's up. Maya reached out, touching Jamie's hand where it lay pale and still against the white sheet. I'll be right outside. Fight, Jamie. Please fight. In the hallway, Linda grabbed Maya's hands. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I should have stayed yesterday, Maya said, guilt crushing her chest. I should have known something was wrong. You couldn't have known. The doctor said this happens sometimes. A blood vessel weakens during surgery and ruptures hours later. It's not your fault. But it felt like her fault. Everything felt like her fault. Marcus drove her home at 2 a.m. Maya sat in the passenger seat, numb and hollow, watching Los Angeles scroll past in a blur of streetlights and darkness. You should sleep, Marcus said quietly. I can't. I have the meeting with the hospital board in 7 hours. Maya, I'm going. I have to. She turned to look at him. Jamie almost died tonight because I convinced him to have that surgery, because I told him life was worth fighting for. What if I was wrong? What if he dies anyway and his last months were just pain and fear and... Stop. Marcus's voice cut through her spiral. You didn't do this to him. Cancer did. And you gave him a chance. That's all any of us can do, give people a chance and hope it's enough. Maya wanted to believe him. She really did. At her apartment, Marcus walked her to the door but didn't come in. Get some sleep, even just a few hours. Will you stay? The words came out before Maya could stop them. I don't want to be alone right now. Marcus's expression softened. Of course. He helped her get ready for bed, turned off the lights, and lay down beside her on top of the covers, fully clothed. Maya curled against him, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Steady, alive, real. Tell me something good, she whispered. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Zoe called me last night. She learned a new word, bioluminescence. Spent 20 minutes explaining how jellyfish make their own light through chemical reactions. She wants to be a marine biologist now instead of an astronaut paleontologist. That's a downgrade from finding dinosaur bones on Mars. I pointed that out. She said Mars is too far away and she'd miss me too much. Marcus's voice went soft. Then she asked if I was sad because I sounded different. I told her I wasn't sad, just tired. She said that's what grown-ups always say when they're sad. Maya's chest ached. She's too smart. She is scarily smart. Marcus's hand moved to Maya's hair, fingers gentle. She also asked if I had a girlfriend yet, said she'd approve as long as the person was nice to me and didn't mind that she doesn't like hugs. What did you say? That I'd met someone I really liked, that you were smart and kind and helped kids like her. He paused. She wants to meet you. Maya's breath caught. Meeting his daughter felt enormous significant. I'd like that, when she's ready. She's ready now. She doesn't understand why adults wait for things. Marcus's chest moved with quiet laughter. She asked me point blank if you were going to be her stepmom someday. We've been on 2 dates. I told her that. She said love doesn't have a timeline. It just happens when it happens. Marcus's voice dropped. Sometimes 7-year-olds are smarter than the rest of us. Maya closed her eyes, letting his words wash over her. She should pull away, should protect herself, should not let this man and his incredible daughter into her devastated heart. But she was so tired of being alone, so tired of protecting herself. I'm falling for you, she whispered, and it terrifies me. Marcus's arms tightened around her. Good, I'm terrified too. Maya fell asleep like that, wrapped in Marcus's arms, and for a few hours she forgot about dying teenagers and failing bodies in the meeting that would probably end her career. The alarm went off at 7. Maya woke disoriented, her back screaming, her head pounding. Marcus was already up, fully dressed, holding 2 cups of coffee. You let me sleep in my chair, Maya accused groggily. You fell asleep before I could help you transfer. I didn't want to wake you. Marcus handed her coffee. How's your pain? Manageable. A lie. Her spine felt like someone had driven railroad spikes through it. What time is it? 7:15. Your meeting's at 9. That gives you time to shower, eat something, and mentally prepare. Maya took the coffee gratefully. You don't have to come with me. I know, I'm coming anyway. Marcus, we're past this argument, remember? You let me help, or I follow you to the hospital and make puppy eyes at you until you give in. He smiled. Your choice. Maya couldn't help laughing. Puppy eyes, really? I'm told they're very effective. Marcus set down his coffee and crouched beside her wheelchair. Let me be here for you, Maya, please. She nodded, not trusting her voice. An hour later, showered and dressed in her most professional outfit, Maya rolled into the hospital's administrative wing with Marcus beside her. Dr. Reyes was already in the conference room, along with 2 hospital administrators Maya recognized and one she didn't. Ms. Chen, thank you for coming. The older administrator, Bernard, something Maya's brain supplied, gestured to the table. Please sit. Maya rolled into place, hyper-aware of how the word sit didn't quite apply to her. Marcus took the chair beside her, and she felt Bernard's eyes flick between them, assessing. This is Marcus Williams, Maya said, keeping her voice level. He's here for support. Of course, Bernard smiled thinly. Ms. Chen, we've asked you here to discuss concerns about your caseload in working hours. Here it comes, Maya thought. Your dedication to your patients is admirable, Bernard continued. However, the board has noted that you've been working significantly beyond your contracted hours. Last month alone, you logged over 90 hours of overtime. Your patients need a therapist who's healthy and functional, Bernard interrupted. We've received reports that you've been experiencing increased pain, that you've been seen taking medication during work hours, that you've had to reschedule appointments due to medical issues. Maya's face burned. Who reported? That's not relevant. Bernard folded his hands on the table. What's relevant is that the board believes you're overextending yourself to the detriment of your health and potentially your patient care. My patient care has never suffered. Maya's voice shook with anger. Check my outcomes. Check my patient satisfaction scores. Check anything you want. My work is excellent. No one's questioning the quality of your work, Dr. Reyes said gently. We're questioning the sustainability of your current schedule. So what are you proposing? Maya asked, though she already knew. Bernard pulled out a document. Effective immediately, we're implementing a cap on your patient contact hours. No more than 35 hours per week. Your current caseload will be reduced from 22 patients to 15. The remaining patients will be reassigned to other therapists. Maya felt like she'd been punched in the chest. You're taking my patients away. We're ensuring you have a manageable workload. They're not just a workload, they're kids who've been through hell, kids who need consistency and stability, and Maya's voice cracked. You're going to traumatize them by reassigning them to strangers. We'll make the transitions as smooth as possible, Bernard said. And this decision is final. It's not up for debate. Maya stared at him, rage and helplessness warring in her chest. Is that all? Actually, no. Bernard's expression shifted slightly. We're also offering you a promotion. Program Director for the Pediatric Therapy Department. It comes with a significant salary increase and the opportunity to shape departmental policy. Maya blinked. What? Your clinical skills are exceptional, Ms. Chen. Your insights into patient care are valuable. We'd like you to take on a leadership role, training new therapists, developing treatment protocols, overseeing the department as a whole. That's a desk job, Maya said slowly. It's a leadership position, Bernard corrected. You'd still maintain a small clinical caseload, 5 patients maximum, but the majority of your time would be administrative. Maya's mind reeled. A promotion. More money, less direct patient care. They were simultaneously punishing her and rewarding her, taking away what she loved most and offering her power she'd never wanted. Can I think about it? She asked. We need an answer by Friday. That gives you 4 days. Bernard stood, clearly considering the meeting over. We know this is a lot to process. Take your time. Discuss it with your support system. After they filed out, Maya sat in the empty conference room, staring at nothing. Dr. Reyes stayed behind her, expression sympathetic. For what it's worth, Dr. Reyes said quietly, I fought against the caseload reduction. I told him you're the best therapist we have, but the board's worried about liability. If you collapse on the job, if your health deteriorates because we let you work yourself to death. So this is about protecting the hospital, not protecting me. It's about both. Dr. Reyes sat down across from Maya. And honestly, I'm worried too. You look exhausted, Maya. You've lost weight. You're in pain constantly. Something has to change. My patients will be okay. I promise I'll personally oversee their transitions. We'll match them with therapists who understand their needs. They won't be abandoned. Maya wanted to argue, but the fight had gone out of her. She was so tired. Bone-deep, soul-crushing, tired. The program director position, Maya said, is that real, or are they just trying to soften the blow? It's real. They've been looking for someone to fill it for 6 months. You're their first choice. Dr. Reyes leaned forward. Think about it, Maya. You could shape the entire program, make it better for every patient, not just the ones on your caseload. That's impact. That's legacy. After Dr. Reyes left, Marcus finally spoke. How are you feeling? Like my entire career just got ripped out from under me. Maya's voice was flat. Like everything I've built for 3 years just became irrelevant. That's not true, isn't it? They're taking away most of my patients, sticking me in an office job, turning me into a bureaucrat instead of a therapist. Or, Marcus said carefully, they're recognizing that you have skills beyond direct patient care, that you could help hundreds of kids by training the therapists who treat them. You sound like Dr. Reyes. Maybe Dr. Reyes has a point. Marcus moved his chair closer. Maya, you're burning out. Anyone can see it. This could be an opportunity to step back, take care of your health, and still make a difference. I don't want to step back. I want to do my job. Even if it's killing you. The question hit like a slap. Maya turned to stare at him, anger flaring hot and sudden. You don't get to make that judgment. Someone has to. You're not taking care of yourself. Your doctor told you yesterday that you have a progressive pain condition that needs management. How are you supposed to manage it while working 90-hour weeks? That's my problem, not yours. It's my problem if I care about you, which I do. Marcus's voice was rising now too. I'm watching you destroy yourself, trying to save everyone else, and I can't just stand by and pretend that's okay. Then don't stand by. Leave. Maya's voice came out cold. You've known me for 3 days, Marcus. You don't get to waltz into my life and start telling me how to live it. Marcus recoiled like she'd hit him. That's not what I'm doing. Isn't it? First you tell me I should work less. Then you agree with the hospital taking away my patients. What's next? You going to tell me I should just give up and accept that I'm broken? I have never once said you were broken. You don't have to say it. I can see it in your eyes every time you look at me struggling. Pity. That's what everyone feels eventually. That's not pity, Maya. That's concern. There's a difference. Not from where I'm sitting. Maya unlocked her wheels. I need to go check on Jamie. Maya, wait. I said I need to go. She rolled toward the door, then stopped, not looking back. Thank you for being here, but I think I need to handle the rest of this alone. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Maya heard Marcus stand, heard his footsteps, heard him leave. She sat there in the empty conference room, shaking, trying to convince herself she'd done the right thing. She'd pushed him away before he could leave on his own. That was smart. Self-preservation. protecting herself from inevitable heartbreak. So why did it feel like she just made the worst mistake of her life? Maya went to check on Jamie. He was still unconscious, still barely alive, machines still breathing for him. Linda was asleep in a chair beside his bed, her husband keeping vigil with hollow eyes. Any change? Maya whispered. Jamie's father shook his head. Doctor says it's too early to tell. Next 24 hours are critical. Maya sat with them for 2 hours watching Jamie's chest rise and fall with mechanical precision, wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake convincing him to fight. Maybe dying would have been easier. Maybe all she'd done was extend his suffering. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, I'm sorry if I overstepped. I care about you, and I don't want to watch you suffer. But you're right. It's your life, your choice. I'm here if you need me. Maya stared at the message, tears burning her eyes. She wanted to call him, wanted to apologize, wanted to admit that she was terrified and exhausted and didn't know how to accept help without feeling weak. Instead, she put her phone away and kept watching Jamie breathe. Hours passed. Linda woke up, went to get coffee, come back. Nurses checked, vitals adjusted, medications spoke in low, serious tones. Maya's back screamed, her head pounded, but she stayed. She'd promised Jamie she'd be there. At 7 p.m., something changed. Jamie's monitors started beeping faster. A nurse rushed in, checked something, then smiled. He's waking up, she said. Linda shot to her feet. Maya rolled closer. Jamie's eyelids fluttered, open, closed again. His lips moved, forming words no one could hear. Jamie. Linda grabbed his hand. Baby, can you hear me? Jamie's eyes opened, fully this time, unfocused and confused. Mom. Linda burst into tears. Yes, baby, I'm here. We're all here. Jamie's gaze drifted around the room, landing on Maya. You stayed. Maya's throat closed. Of course I stayed. I promised. Thought I was gonna die, Jamie whispered. You almost did, Maya said honestly, but you didn't. You fought. Hurts. I know, it's going to hurt for a while, but you're alive, Jamie. You made it. Jamie's eyes filled with tears. Don't want to do this anymore. Don't want to hurt anymore. Maya felt her heart break. I know, but you're going to. One day at a time, and remember, today you just survived surgery. Tomorrow you'll survive recovery. Eventually you'll survive long enough to live again. What if I can't? Then we'll figure it out together. You're not alone in this. A doctor came in, started asking Jamie questions, checking his responses. Everything looked good considering. Stable, out of immediate danger. Maya slipped out while they were distracted, rolling into the hallway. She made it to the elevator before the tears came, great heaving sobs that shook her whole body. Jamie was alive. He was going to be okay. And Maya had never felt more lost in her entire life. Her phone rang. Not Marcus this time. Her sister Diane. Hey, Maya answered, trying to sound normal. You sound terrible. What's wrong? Everything Maya wanted to say. Instead, long day, patient complications. I'm fine. You're not fine. I can hear it in your voice. Diane paused. Mom called me, said she hasn't heard from you in 2 weeks. She's worried. Guilt stabbed through Maya's chest. I've been busy. Too busy to call your mother, Maya, what's going on? And suddenly it all came pouring out. The MRI results, the hospital meeting, the caseload reduction, the promotion offer. She didn't want Marcus, the fight, Jamie's surgery complications, all of it. Diane listened without interrupting, which was unusual enough that Maya knew she sounded as wrecked as she felt. Come stay with me, Diane said when Maya finally stopped talking. Just for a few days. Let me take care of you. I can't. I have work. You just said they're reducing your caseload. You have time. Diane's voice went firm. Please, Maya, let someone help you before you completely fall apart. Maya was so tired of fighting. Okay, yeah, I'll come tomorrow. I'll pick you up at 10. Pack a bag, bring your medications. And Maya. Yeah, that guy Marcus, he sounds like a good one. Don't push him away just because you're scared. I already did. Then unpush him. Apologize. Tell him you're terrified and you freaked out. Diane's voice softened. The good ones forgive you when you screw up. That's how you know they're worth keeping. After they hung up, Maya sat in the hospital lobby for a long time watching people come and go. Sick people, healthy people, visitors with flowers, doctors with tired eyes. Everyone fighting their own battles, everyone carrying their own pain. She pulled out her phone and typed, "I'm sorry. You were right and I was scared and I took it out on you. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know." She hit send before she could second guess herself. Marcus replied within 30 seconds. "Nothing to forgive. I pushed too hard. Can we talk, Maya?" "Yes. But not tonight. I'm going to stay with my sister for a few days." "Figure some things out, Marcus. That sounds like a good idea. Call me when you're ready." "Maya, I will. I promise." She meant it. She just hoped she'd be brave enough to keep the promise when the time came. Maya went home, packed a bag, took her pain medication, and actually slept for 6 hours straight. When she woke up, Diane was already at her door, coffee and bagels in hand, ready to kidnap her older sister and force her to rest. "You look like hell," Diane said cheerfully. "Love you too." Maya accepted the coffee gratefully. The drive to Diane's house in Pasadena was quiet. Maya stared out the window, her mind mercifully blank. She was so tired of thinking, of worrying, of trying to solve every problem herself. Diane's house was small but cozy, with ramps her husband had installed years ago when Maya first had her accident. Her two kids, 8 and 10, were at school, which meant the house was blessedly quiet. "Guest rooms all set up," Diane said. "Fresh sheets, accessible bathrooms, everything you need. You're going to sleep, eat real food, and stop trying to save the entire world for a few days." "I don't try to save the entire world." "You absolutely do. It's your most annoying quality." Diane grinned. "Now go lie down. I'm making lunch." Maya slept until 2 p.m., then woke to the smell of soup and fresh bread. She transferred to her chair and rolled to the kitchen where Diane was cooking while simultaneously helping her son with homework via video call. "Mom, I don't get it," the kid whined on the screen. "Sound it out, buddy. You know how to do this." Maya watched her sister juggle parenting and cooking with practiced ease and felt a stab of something that might have been envy. Diane had a husband who loved her kids, who adored her, a normal life that didn't revolve around pain and disability and dying teenagers. "Stop that," Diane said, not looking up. "Stop what?" "Comparing our lives. I can see it on your face." Diane hung up the call and turned to face Maya. "You think I have it easy because I'm not in a wheelchair, but you don't see the postpartum depression that nearly destroyed me after Jake was born, or the miscarriages between the kids, or the fact that Tom and I almost got divorced 2 years ago because we forgot how to be anything except parents." Maya hadn't known any of that. "Diane, everyone's life is hard in different ways. You don't get to monopolize suffering just because your challenges are visible." Diane ladled soup into bowls. "Now eat. Then we're going to talk about this Marcus guy and why you're sabotaging something that could actually be good." They ate in silence for a few minutes. The soup was perfect chicken and vegetables, warmth and comfort in a bowl. "I'm scared," Maya finally admitted, "of letting him in, of him seeing all the broken, messy parts of me and deciding I'm too much work." "Has he given you any indication that's how he feels?" "No, but they all leave eventually." "Who's they all?" Diane asked pointedly. "Because from what I remember, you've been on exactly 3 dates since your accident. One guy who was clearly a creep, one who ghosted after you told him about the wheelchair, and now Marcus. That's not a pattern. That's 2 assholes and 1 good guy." "What if he's not a good guy? What if he just seems good because I'm desperate?" "Are you desperate?" Diane's eyes were sharp. "Or are you just letting yourself feel something for the first time in 3 years and it terrifies you?" Maya's throat went tight. "Both." "That's fair." Diane reached across the table, taking Maya's hand. "But here's the thing, you deserve good things. You deserve love and support and someone who shows up for you, not despite your disability, just regardless of it. Marcus sounds like he might be that person. Or he might not be. Or he might not be," Diane agreed. "But you'll never know if you keep pushing him away before he has a chance to prove himself." Maya thought about Marcus waiting in that hospital cafeteria for 9 hours, about him calling just to hear her voice, about him offering to go to her doctor's appointment without hesitation. "He wants to introduce me to his daughter," Maya said quietly. Diane's eyebrows shot up. "That's serious. That's terrifying." "Also serious." Diane squeezed her hand. "What do you want, Maya? Not what you think you deserve or what you're afraid of. What do you actually want?" Maya closed her eyes. "I want someone who stays, who doesn't run when things get hard, who loves me enough to fight with me instead of giving up. Then call him. Tell him that. See what happens. Maya pulled out her phone, stared at Marcus's number, and hit call before she could talk herself out of it. He answered on the first ring. Maya, hi. Hi. Her voice shook. I'm sorry for pushing you away, for saying you didn't get to care about me for all of it. I'm sorry too, for pushing too hard about the job thing. It's your life, your decision. You weren't wrong though. Maya took a breath. I am burning out. I am in pain constantly, and I don't know how to stop because the work is the only thing that makes me feel like I matter. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. You matter whether you're helping people or not. Your value isn't conditional on your productivity. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. I don't know how to believe that. Then let me believe it for you until you can believe it yourself. Marcus's voice was so gentle it hurt. Where are you right now? My sister's house in Pasadena, hiding from my life for a few days. That sounds healthy, actually. Are you okay? No, but I will be. Maya wiped her eyes. Marcus, I really like you, more than I should after 3 days. And it scares me how much I want this to work. Me too, Marcus said, on both counts. But maybe we could try being scared together instead of alone. Maya laughed through her tears. Diane says the good ones forgive you when you screw up. Your sister's smart. Is she the one who convinced you to call me? She might have pointed out that I was sabotaging something good because I'm terrified. I like her already. Maya could hear the smile in Marcus's voice. Take the time you need, Maya. Figure out what you want with the job situation. Rest. Take care of yourself. I'll be here when you're ready. What if I'm never ready? Then I'll wait anyway, because some things are worth waiting for. After they hung up, Maya sat in Diane's kitchen and cried. Good tears this time. Hopeful tears. Tears that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. She had no idea how soon that hope would be tested, or how much harder things were about to get. 3 days at Diane's house felt like 3 years. Maya slept at real food, let her sister fuss over her like she was 12 instead of 31. She video called with Jamie twice. He was improving, getting fitted for a temporary prosthetic, cracking terrible jokes about being a pirate. She checked in with her remaining patients, coordinated their transitions to new therapists, and tried not to feel like she was abandoning them. And she thought about the program director position, about what it would mean to step back from direct patient care, about whether she could find purpose in teaching others instead of doing the work herself. On Thursday morning, her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Chen, this is Bernard from hospital administration. Have you made a decision about the program director position? Maya's stomach clenched. She'd been avoiding this conversation, hoping the answer would magically become clear. It hadn't. I need more time, she said. The board meets tomorrow at 3 p.m. We need your answer by then. Bernard's voice was professionally neutral. I understand this is difficult, but we do need to move forward with staffing decisions. After he hung up, Maya sat in Diane's guest room staring at nothing. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. Zoe's flight lands at noon tomorrow. She wants to meet you. No pressure, but if you're up for it, we could get ice cream or something low-key. Maya's heart hammered. Meeting his daughter felt enormous, like crossing a threshold she couldn't uncross. But the thought of saying no, of missing the chance to meet this incredible kid Marcus talked about, constantly felt worse. I'd love to meet her, Maya typed back. Where and when? The response was immediate. Griffith Park. 2 p.m. There's an accessible path around the observatory. Zoe loves it there. Maya smiled despite her anxiety. Perfect. See you tomorrow. She spent the rest of Thursday coaching herself through panic. Meeting a 7-year-old shouldn't be this terrifying. But this wasn't just any 7-year-old. This was Marcus's daughter, the person who mattered most to him in the entire world. If Zoe didn't like Maya, if Maya said the wrong thing, or came across as trying too hard, or not trying enough. You're spiraling, Diane said from the doorway. Maya jumped. I wasn't. You were. I can see it all over your face. Diane came in, sitting on the edge of the bed. What's going on? Marcus wants me to meet Zoe tomorrow. Diane's expression shifted. That's huge. That's terrifying. Also huge. Diane studied her sister. Do you want to meet her? Yes, no, maybe. Maya pressed her hands over her face. What if she hates me? What if I say something wrong? What if she likes you and you like her and it's completely fine? Diane pulled Maya's hands away from her face. You work with kids every single day. You're incredible with them. Why is this different? Because it matters more, Maya whispered. Because if this doesn't work out with Marcus, it's not just losing him. It's losing the possibility of being part of Zoe's life too. And I didn't even know I wanted that until right now. Diane smiled sad and knowing her. Xing, you're already in love with him, aren't you? Maya wanted to deny it. They'd known each other less than a week. Love didn't happen that fast. Except sometimes it did. Sometimes you met someone and your entire world shifted on its axis and suddenly you couldn't imagine going back to before. Yeah, Maya said. I think I am. Then tomorrow will be fine. Kids are perceptive. Zoe will see that you care about her dad. That's all that matters. Friday morning, Maya woke up with her stomach in knots. She showered, agonized over what to wear too. Formal looked like she was trying too hard, too casual, looked like she didn't care, and finally settled on jeans and a soft green sweater that Diane said made her eyes pop. You look beautiful, Diane assured her. Now stop fussing and go meet your future stepdaughter. Don't say that, you're making it worse. Diane just laughed and pushed Maya toward the door. The drive to Griffith Park was surreal. Maya's hand shook on the wheel. She practiced conversation starters in her head, rejected them all as stupid. Hi, Zoe. I've heard so much about you sounded fake. Your dad talks about you constantly made it seem like Marcus did nothing but talk about his kid. I love jellyfish too, was presumptuous. What if Zoe had moved on to a new obsession? She parked in an accessible spot near the observatory and sat there breathing slowly. She could do this. She worked with the kids all the time. 7-year-olds were easy, sweet, honest, terrifying. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. We're by the statue near the entrance. Zoe's wearing a blue dress and light-up shoes. Maya rolled toward the observatory, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. And then she saw them. Marcus stood near the statue, looking nervous in a way Maya had never seen him. And beside him was a little girl with hair in 2 perfect puffs, wearing a blue dress covered in stars. Light-up shoes flashing with every movement. She was stimming, hands flapping rapidly, her whole body vibrating with energy. When Zoe saw Maya, she went completely still. Maya stopped about 10 feet away, suddenly unsure. Should she approach? Wait for Marcus to introduce them? Say something. Zoe made the decision for her. She walked straight up to Maya's wheelchair, studying it with intense focus. You have wheels, Zoe said. Not a question, an observation. I do, Maya agreed. Why? Because my legs don't work the way yours do. The wheelchair helps me get around. Zoe processed this, her head tilting. Does it hurt? Sometimes, Maya said honestly, but not right now. Good. Zoe's attention shifted to Maya's face, her gaze direct and unwavering in a way that would have been uncomfortable from an adult, but felt oddly refreshing from a child. Daddy says you help kids who are sad. Are you sad? Maya's throat closed. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Marcus tense, clearly ready to intervene. But Zoe deserved an honest answer. Sometimes, Maya said, but not right now. Good, Zoe said again. Then without warning, she started talking about dolphins. Fast, enthusiastic, a stream of facts about echolocation and pod structures and how dolphins sleep with one half of their brain awake. Maya listened, genuinely fascinated, occasionally asking questions that sent Zoe off on new tangents. After 10 minutes, Zoe stopped abruptly. Do you want to see the observatory? They have a thing about stars. Stars are okay, but I like water animals better. I'd love to see it, Maya said. Zoe started walking and Maya rolled beside her arm. Marcus fell into step on Maya's other side, his hand briefly touching her shoulder. You're doing great, he murmured. She's incredible, Maya whispered back. Inside the observatory, Zoe dragged them to every exhibit, explaining the ones she understood and making up fantastical stories about the ones she didn't. She didn't hold Maya's hand or Marcus's touch, clearly wasn't her thing, but she stayed close, occasionally checking to make sure they were still there. At one point, Zoe stopped in front of an exhibit about deep-sea bioluminescence. Her whole face lit up. This is like the jellyfish, she said to Maya. They make their own light. Nobody teaches them, they just know how. That's called instinct. That's pretty amazing, Maya said. You're like that, Zoe said matter-of-factly. You help kids even though it's hard. That's instinct, like the jellyfish. Maya felt tears prickling her eyes. She glanced at Marcus, who looked equally emotional. Thank you, Zoe, Maya managed. That's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me. Zoe nodded, already moving on to the next exhibit. But Maya saw the small smile on her face and knew she'd passed some kind of test. They got ice cream after vanilla for Zoe, chocolate for Marcus, strawberry for Maya. They sat on a bench overlooking the city, and Zoe ate her ice cream with intense concentration, making sure to get exactly the same amount on each lick. Zoe, Marcus said gently, Maya and I are going to talk for a minute. Can you count the cars in the parking lot? Zoe perked up immediately. All of them or just the blue ones? All of them. Tell me when you get to 50. Zoe wandered a few feet away, her lips moving as she counted. Marcus turned to Maya. She likes you, he said. How can you tell? She's talking to you without prompting. She shared information about her special interest. She made eye contact twice. Marcus smiled. For Zoe, that's basically a marriage proposal. Maya laughed, but it caught in her throat. She's amazing, Marcus, truly. She is, and she thinks you're like a jellyfish, which is possibly the highest compliment she's capable of giving. Marcus's expression turned serious. Maya, I know this is fast. I know we've only known each other a week, but I meant what I said. I'm falling for you, hard, and I want to see where this goes. Maya's heart stuttered. Even with all my complications, the health issues, the job stress, the fact that I'm kind of a mess right now, especially with all of that, because you're also brilliant and compassionate and brave, and you make me laugh, and you treated my daughter like a person instead of a problem to solve. Marcus reached for her hand. I don't want perfect, Maya. I want real. And you're the most real person I've met in years. Maya opened her mouth to respond, but her phone rang. Hospital. Her stomach dropped. I'm sorry I have to. Take it, Marcus said immediately. Maya answered. Hello. Ms. Chen, it's Bernard. I'm calling to follow up on the program director position. The board meeting's in 2 hours. Do you have an answer? Maya looked at Marcus, at Zoe counting cars with fierce concentration at the sprawling city below them. She thought about Jamie recovering in his hospital bed, about the 15 patients she was keeping and the 7 she was losing, about what it would mean to step back to teach instead of due to trust that she could make a difference in a different way. Yes, she heard herself say. I'll take it, the program director position. I accept. Bernard's relief was audible. Excellent. We'll draw up the paperwork. Can you come in Monday to sign and discuss the transition? Monday works. After she hung up, Marcus was watching her carefully. You took it. I took it. Maya felt strangely calm. I'm terrified and I have no idea if I'm making the right choice, but I took it. How do you feel? Like I just jumped off a cliff and I'm not sure if I'm flying or falling. Marcus smiled. Sometimes they're the same thing. Zoe ran back over. 53 cars. I counted 53. Can we see the telescope now? They spent another hour at the observatory. Zoe showed Maya the telescope, explained how light from stars took years to reach Earth, asked if Maya thought dolphins could see stars underwater. When it was time to go, Zoe surprised them both by stopping in front of Maya's wheelchair. Will you come back, Zoe asked, to see me again? Maya's throat went tight. If you want me to, absolutely. I want you to. Zoe paused, working something out in her head. You can tell me more about the sad kids you help. I want to understand why they're sad. I can do that, Maya promised. Zoe nodded, satisfied, and went to hold Marcus's hand. They walked Maya to her car, and Marcus helped her transfer, while Zoe watched with scientific interest. Your chair folds up small, Zoe observed. That's efficient. It is, Maya agreed, charmed despite her exhaustion. Before they left, Marcus leaned down and kissed Maya's forehead. Call me later. Definitely. She watched them walk away, Marcus and his incredible daughter, and felt something settle in her chest. Hope. Real, solid, terrifying hope. The drive back to Diane's was quiet. Maya's mind spun through everything that had just happened. She'd met Zoe. She'd taken the program director job. She'd just changed the entire trajectory of her life in the space of 2 hours. Her phone rang. Dr. Reyes. Maya, I just heard from Bernard. You took the position. I'm so glad. Are you? Because I'm second-guessing everything right now. Don't. You're going to be incredible at this, and I'm going to make sure your patient transitions are handled perfectly. I promise. Dr. Reyes paused. There's something else. Jamie's asking for you. He wants to talk about his recovery plan, and he specifically requested you be involved, even though you're not his primary therapist anymore. Maya's chest ached. When? Tomorrow morning, if you're available, 10 a.m. I'll be there. Saturday morning, Maya met Jamie in the hospital's physical therapy room. He was in a wheelchair now, too, his residual limb bandaged but healing. He looked older somehow, like he'd aged years and days. Hey, Maya said, rolling up beside him. Hey, yourself. Jamie managed a weak smile. Heard you're going corporate on us. Program director. Fancy. Not sure about fancy. Terrifying, definitely. You'll be good at it. Jamie's smile faded. I need to ask you something. Anything. Was it worth it? The surgery, the pain, all of it? Jamie's voice dropped. Because right now, it doesn't feel worth it. It feels like I traded cancer for a lifetime of struggling. Maya took a slow breath, choosing her words carefully. You want the therapist answer or the honest answer, honest. I don't know yet. Ask me in 6 months, a year, 5 years. Whether it was worth it depends on what you do with the life you fought for. Maya met his eyes. But here's what I do know, you're alive. You have choices. You can decide who you want to be on the other side of this. That's worth something. Jamie was quiet for a long moment. Will you still see me even though you're not my therapist anymore? Jamie, I know it's not allowed or whatever, but you're the only one who gets it. Who doesn't bullshit me or treat me like I'm made of glass? His voice cracked. Please, I need someone who understands. Maya thought about the rules, the boundaries, the professional distance she was supposed to maintain. Then she thought about this kid who'd almost died, who'd fought because she'd convinced him to fight, who deserved better than being abandoned when things got hard. I'll talk to Dr. Reyes, Maya said. See if we can work something out. Maybe supervision meetings, check-ins, something. I'm not disappearing on you, Jamie. I promise. Relief flooded Jamie's face. Thank you. They talked for another hour. About prosthetics, about phantom pain management, about the long road ahead. When Maya finally left, she felt drained but strangely hopeful. She could do this, the program director thing. She could help kids like Jamie while also taking care of herself. Maybe, Sunday. Maya returned to her own apartment. Diane hugged her goodbye, made her promise to call twice a week, and slipped a bag of homemade cookies into her lap. For Marcus, Diane said with a knowing smile. We're not. You will be, soon. Diane kissed her forehead. I'm proud of you, Maya, for taking the job, for letting Marcus in, for finally letting yourself be human instead of superhuman. At home, Maya unpacked, did laundry, caught up on emails. Her apartment felt different somehow. Quieter, but not as lonely. She had plans now. Dinner with Marcus on Wednesday, a follow-up appointment with Dr. Patel next week. Her first day as program director on Monday. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, Zoe hasn't stopped talking about you. She wants to know when you're coming over for dinner. I told her we'd ask you first. Maya smiled, typing back, I'd love that. When? Next Friday I'll cook. Zoe wants to show you her rock collection. It's a date. Monday morning arrived too fast. Maya, dressed in her most professional outfit, fought Los Angeles traffic to the hospital and rolled into the administrative wing with her stomach in knots. Bernard was waiting with a stack of paperwork. Contract terms, salary details, benefits, packages. Maya signed everything with shaking hands, trying to convince herself she was making the right choice. Welcome to administration, Ms. Chen. Bernard shook her hand. Your office is being prepared. We'll have you moved in by next week. In the meantime, Dr. Reyes will help you transition your current caseload. The next 2 weeks were a blur. Maya met with each of her patients, explaining the change, introducing them to their new therapists. Some took it well, others didn't. One 13-year-old girl cried and begged Maya not to leave her. That one nearly broke Maya's resolve entirely. But she pushed through. She had supervision meetings with Jamie. Dr. Reyes had approved them as part of Maya's new administrative role. She started training new therapists, developing treatment protocols, sitting in on departmental meetings where people actually listened to her ideas. It was different, harder in some ways, easier in others, but it was working. And every night she talked to Marcus. Long conversations about everything and nothing. He told her about Zoe's new obsession with tide pools. She told him about the therapist who'd pushed back on her trauma-informed care protocol and how satisfying it had been to cite research until the woman backed down. On Friday, Maya drove to Marcus's house in Culver City. It was small but well kept with a ramp leading to the front door that made her chest tight. I had it installed last week, Marcus said, reading her expression. For you, so you could visit without struggling with the stairs. Maya stared at the ramp, then at Marcus. You rebuilt your front entrance for me. I didn't rebuild it, I just added accessibility. Marcus looked nervous. Is that okay? I should have asked first, I just thought. Maya kissed him, right there on his front ramp in front of his neighbors and anyone who might be watching. She kissed him like he'd just given her the world. When they finally broke apart, Marcus was smiling. I'll take that as approval. You built me a ramp, Maya said, her voice shaking. I built us a ramp, so you could be here, with me and Zoe, as often as you want. Inside, Zoe was waiting with her entire rock collection spread across the living room floor. She spent 2 hours explaining the difference between igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks. Maya listened, genuinely fascinated, asking questions that sent Zoe into delighted tangents. Dinner was pasta, simple, perfect, exactly what Maya needed. They ate at the table, Zoe between them, and it felt like family. Real messy, imperfect family. After Zoe went to bed, Maya and Marcus sat on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. I have something to tell you, Maya said quietly. Marcus tensed slightly. Okay. I went back to Dr. Patel this week for a follow-up on the MRI. Maya took a breath. The pain management protocol is working. The inflammation is down. She thinks with continued treatment, we can slow the progression significantly. Maya, that's amazing. It is. It's also terrifying because it means I have to keep taking care of myself. I can't just work myself to death and pretend it's fine. She turned to look at him. I'm going to need help, support, someone to remind me when I'm overdoing it. I can do that, Marcus said immediately, even when I'm stubborn and push back, especially then. Marcus kissed her forehead. We'll figure it out together, one day at a time. Maya closed her eyes, letting herself believe it, letting herself hope. 3 months later, Maya stood in front of her new team of therapists, 15 people she'd hired and trained personally. They were about to present their new trauma-informed care program to the hospital board. Maya's program, her vision, her legacy. You've all worked incredibly hard, Maya said, and I'm proud of every single one of you. Now let's go show them what we've built. The presentation went perfectly. The board approved the program unanimously. Bernard shook Maya's hand afterward, told her she was exactly what the department needed. Walking out of that meeting, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. Pride. Not despite her disability, not in spite of her challenges. Just pride in work well done. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, Zoe, and I are making dinner. Get here when you can. We love you. Maya stared at those last 3 words. They'd been dancing around them for weeks, both too scared to say it first. She typed back, I love you too. Both of you. See you soon. That night over spaghetti and Zoe's enthusiastic explanation of bioluminescent plankton, Maya realized something. She'd spent 3 years thinking her life had ended with the accident, that she'd become less than broken, a shadow of who she used to be. But sitting here with Marcus and Zoe, working a job she loved in a different way, managing her pain instead of letting it consume her, she understood the truth. She hadn't become less. She'd become different. And different didn't mean broken. You're smiling, Zoe observed. I am, Maya agreed. Why? Maya looked at Marcus, at his daughter, at the ramp outside that said she was welcome here always. Because I'm happy. Zoe considered this seriously. Happy is good. Daddy says you should smile more. He's right, Maya said, reaching across the table to take Marcus's hand. I should. And for the first time in 3 years, Maya believed she actually could. She was disabled. She was in chronic pain. She would struggle every single day with a body that didn't work the way it used to. But she was also loved. She was valued. She was making a difference in ways she never expected. And that all of it together, the pain and the joy, the struggle and the triumph, the fear and the hope, that was enough, more than enough. That was a life worth fighting for.